therapists normally, assess the patients, assess their weaknesses, their strengths, and work on the missing components ultimately to take them to their goal. Right. So for persons with disabilities, how does this process differ? Is it the same as with the usual patients, or is it different? And basically, when they are targeting at a certain sport, they want to start working towards a certain sport. So how does this process differ? Dr. Asha, could you shed some light?
The eligible. In Indian norm, like most of the country, not in our country, they think like if a person is a challenge, they are eligible for sports. It's not like that. It doesn't depend upon the percent of disability. Like in throughout this my 5 years experience, I have come across it becomes sometimes very difficult when a person is comes under minimum disability criteria. So first thing what we do, we check whether the person is eligible or not, and those eligible criteria according to IPC there are 10 eligible criteria, and but sports wise also sometimes those 10 eligible criteria are not somewhere it is 7 or 8, and based on that according to the event according to the event the classification will differ. There are different classification. So suppose I would like to give example for cycling. So cycling for the amputee or majorly for the amputee or the people who is with polio, so they have C1 to C5 category, whereas the lower more the higher lesion, whereas both the limbs are not working, low less trunk balance, they fall under hand cycle category. Whereas for cerebral palsy, majority of people goes to tricycle category. So these are the different events, and in that event there are different classification categories. So it is very mandatory to know first whether they are eligible, and after that, once you know that the person is eligible, whether he meets the minimum criteria, it's not. For an example, if I say like if someone has only thumb as amputee, he won't be considered as a eligible criteria for cycling. So that too, same way for different sports, the minimum eligible criteria also differs. For all these things, more education, more study, and working experience with them is mandatory. I like to say that there are like impaired muscle power, range, then visual impairment, intellectual impairment, ataxia, acidosis. These are considered as the eligible impairment, which you can go through International Paralympic Committee. There they have mentioned. But the methodology for all these assessments are different. So according to the sports fights, there are outcome measures, there are methodology in which they have put up limitation. According to this limitation, only they will be eligible for this sports. Application also, it's like it can change on the time of event also. So there, who have done classification, maybe a physiotherapist or maybe orthopedic medicine people or maybe other who are eligible candidate, their presence is required. So where again the physiotherapy role comes, and even like when they give the classification, there are different. One will be confirmed, one will be review category. So so we come to know what this person will land up in future, whether it will be a permanent classification or not. That depends upon his impairment. So as he rightly said, yes, it is very mandatory to know, because sometimes it might happen, it might create a big loss to that athlete if all of a sudden it changes, or might be we have to mentally make them aware here this might change and you have to be prepared for it.
I feel is in 3 points. I feel the classification, as Dr. Asha says, is obviously for avoiding injuries, but also for a fair play. Like not that like an individual
Yes,
having less disability playing it, and in the same category where an individual has more disability. So to have a fair play, also the classification is required. So the 3 points which I mentioned was where like first is obviously the disability, what disability exactly the individual has. So accordingly, there will be options of the games an individual can play, or the events an individual can participate in. Now the second will be like which he is inclined, what sport he is inclined in terms of the options he has got. And the third will be to guide him will be that just to like if an individual has an option, and if a particular sport has less competition, we can guide him accordingly as well. Like he can go into that sport where he has a chance of excelling. So 3 points I feel are we can like take into consideration.
Have to be very creative and sensitive around these people. Like consider their disabilities and all. Like for example, when you're treating a visually impaired athlete, so what happens? I have an athlete who is visually impaired. So he's partially impaired. He's not able to see certain colors. So during rehab, I have to consider that I have to always use dark colors. Then what happens is we use sound effects for him. Like for example, at the academy, we also have a puppy. So what used to happen? He used to collide and fall. So we tied a bell over at the puppy's neck. So that we included in rehab. Like we made sounds and all, and then that's how we take his conditioning and all. So you need to be really creative and sensitive while talking to them. So all this is how it differs. Like this is an example for visually impaired. Like everywhere, like for amputation in arms and legs, everything. You need to think out of the box. There are no extra equipment like prosthesis or crutches or anything. We need to consider that also. Like how heavy it is, how they are going to play sport.